Hello, boys and girls. It's me, Poppy. Before we start our story, I need to ask for help. As you know, our podcast has been happening for more than 1 year, and we love sharing these stories with you for free. These stories also go to children that have trouble reading, children that are blind, and other children that don't know about Jesus yet. We really want to continue recording these for you, but we need to raise some money. If you would like to help raise money for GIGI Kids Stories, we would really be thankful for any amount that you could give. If you can't give, we ask that you please help by praying for us so that we can continue. There is a link below where Mom, Dad, Auntie, Grandma or friends can read the letter and donate if they would like. Will you help save GIGI Kids Story? Thank you all so much. Now let's get into our story. Welcome to
Gravatt Stories for GIGI Kids,
a place where
kids like us
will be inspired
by
awesome Christian stories.
Oh, it's so hard putting up a tent.
I know.
Make sure you put all the tent pegs in tightly, otherwise it'll fly away in the night.
Yes, especially if it rains or something.
I know, it'll be too cold.
Ugh.
Especially because it's winter.
Oh, Valentina and Poppy, I actually forgot to tell our audience that we're camping.
I know, so exciting.
And we have a beautiful view and we're going to spend the whole weekend camping.
And it's near a lake.
Yes, and I heard we can try fishing as well.
Maybe. Oh, and the sunset is beautiful.
Oh, we can't wait. We wish you were here with us.
I know you'd wish you'd be here with us too.
I know. I heard something.
What's that noise?
Oh, it sounds familiar. I've heard that noise before.
Sounds like a bird of some sort.
There, it's over there, look.
A bush turkey.
Oh, my goodness, I haven't seen one in ages.
Look, there's a second one.
Oh, it must be a family.
Maybe.
Poppy, this reminds me of the story you were telling me last week. We haven't told Valentina or our audience about it. It's about turkeys. You're going to love it. Do you want me to tell you?
Sure.
But first, let's go to my glitter box. All right, boys and girls, in my glitter box today, I have 3 interesting turkey facts. Are you ready? Number 1. Did you know that turkeys don't have ears on the outside like we do? They actually have little holes in their heads, located behind their eyes, where the sound enters. Isn't that weird? So interesting. Number 2. Did you know that they have really good vision and they can actually see in color? And number 3, wild turkeys sleep in trees away from predators so they don't get eaten. Sometimes domesticated turkeys, that's turkeys that we can have at our house like pets, they'll try and do the same thing. It's really interesting. I really hope you've enjoyed these facts, and make sure you visit our blog to see the pictures, read the facts, and do your own turkey drawing. All right, that's all from me today, boys and girls. Bye!
Thanks, Poppy. I can't wait to hear the story about turkeys.
Oh, it's a good one. I think you're going to like it. And it's a true story. And it happens on a farm.
Ooh.
All right, boys and girls, are you ready for the story? All right, listen up. Adventures at Poppas and Nannas Farm. The Chase, written by Giselle. Be kind to all creatures big and small, because God created them. Ellie and Natalie crouched low as they hid behind the old eucalyptus tree on Nana and Poppa's farm. I'm coming, they heard 4-year-old Jonny call out from the porch. They tried not to giggle as they saw him walk down the back porch steps, confidently to begin his search. They all loved playing hide and seek, especially when Jonny was it. Ellie loved having Natalie, Jonny and Uncle Matt visit during the school holidays. It was always fun. Plus, both girls were 7 and they liked a lot of the same things. Jonny, on the other hand, was a little bit wild and didn't always listen to them. They could be pretty bossy with him too, and he didn't like it. "Quick, move to the tree so he doesn't see us," Ellie whispered. "And when he goes around the chicken pen, let's run around behind him and we can follow him." "Okay," nodded Natalie, covering her mouth so she wouldn't laugh, her big green eyes shining excitedly. As soon as Jonny came around the chicken pen, the girls made a run towards the back of the chicken pen just as Jonny disappeared around the front. Ever so quietly, they crept behind him and moved toward the back of the shed. He wouldn't look there. From behind the shed, they watched as he made his way to the eucalyptus tree where they had been. "Where are you?" he shouted, looking around. His brow creased as he looked behind, to the side, and then up the tree. "Phew, lucky we moved," Natalie whispered behind Ellie. "I know," Ellie whispered back. "Jonny!" They heard a voice call. It was Nana. She had come out to the porch and was looking around the yard. "Where is your sister and cousin Ellie? Lunch is ready." "Ooh, lunch!" The girls smiled and their stomachs growled. They sprang from behind the shed and made a run to the porch steps as they called out to Jonny. "Beat you to the porch!" "Nuh-uh!" he called back, running as fast as he could in his garden boots. "We won!" the girls said as they reached the porch before him. "Hey, you two cheated!" Jonny said as he reached the back door. "And you moved from where you were hiding, 'cause I checked around the chicken coop and I'm sure you were there first." Both girls laughed. "There aren't any rules about that, Jonny," Natalie said, flicking her long brown hair. "Plus, game's over since it's lunch and we won," Ellie concluded, opening the back door of the house, her red hair spiking everywhere from the wind. Soon they were eating hot, gooey, delicious cheese and tomato toasties. This is good," Natalie mumbled with a mouthful. Everyone nodded happily. "Hey, after lunch we can go explore the back," Ellie announced as she bit into her sandwich. I found these really cool trees, and the bark is soft and white and just peels off. They look like old maps." "Cool, very cool," Natalie and Jonny said in unison. "Those are called paperbark trees," Nana said. "They're one of your Poppa's favorite. And please don't talk with your mouth full, Ellie." "Where is Poppa?" Natalie said. "He and Dad went out ages ago." "Well, a family from one of the farms are moving to the city. They're giving your Poppa and the other neighbors some of their animals." "Ooh, I wonder what Poppa will pick," Ellie said as she finished off the last of her sandwich. "Maybe he can get a lion," Jonny said excitedly. "That's not a farm animal, Jonny," Natalie said with a shake of her head, while Ellie laughed. Jonny poked out his tongue at the girls, just as Nana walked into the kitchen. "Oh, they're back!" the kids squealed as they raced to the front porch. "Don't go down to the truck, wait on the porch," Nana called as she came out after them, quickly grabbing Jonny's hand. He was ready to bolt and meet the truck halfway. They all stood watching on the porch with anticipation. "Hey, kids!" Matt called, waving up to them. "Guess what new farm friends Poppa brought home?" "It's a lion that's going to chase the girls and eat them up," Jonny said as he pulled free from Nana and ran down to his dad. "Jonny, you need to say kind things," Nana called behind him. Ellie and Natalie shook their head and waited for what Poppa would say. Poppa rubbed his hands excitedly. "I got 5 of the biggest turkeys you've ever seen, 3 more chickens, and later this week, Mr. Pickery will drop off 3 goats and 2 male Hereford calves." "Ooh, cool!" the girl shrieked. "Let them out! Let them out! Let them out!" Jonny squealed as he moved around the truck, stretching his neck to look inside. "Be careful!" Nana called. Ellie and Natalie leaned closer to the porch as Poppa opened the back of the truck and Matt jumped up to shoo the birds out. The mix of sound was funny as the chickens and turkeys got out and began to roam the new yard. "The turkeys are so weird looking," Ellie giggled. "And wrinkly," Natalie added, laughing. "They're dumb," Jonny said as he began to chase them around the yard. "None of that, Jonny, they can peck you," his father warned as he jumped off the truck. Jonny simply shrugged and ran off into the house to finish his sandwich. The next morning during breakfast, Ellie and Natalie enjoyed Nana's delicious blueberry pancakes. "Nana, where's Jonny?" Ellie asked, looking around. "He went out early this morning with Dad and Poppa," Natalie answered, before Nana could. Ellie took another bite of her pancakes and licked her sticky maple syrup fingers. Yummy. "Well, do you want to go to the swing this morning after breakfast and then maybe we can go exploring too?" Ellie asked. "Oh, yes, please," Natalie agreed, bouncing on her chair. "Oh, no. No swinging straight after breakfast," Nana said. "But you can go for a walk and explore." "Thanks, Nana," the girls chorused and laughed. "Maybe I'll show you the paperbark tree since we didn't go yesterday," Ellie decided. The morning was clear and warm. Ellie and Natalie were ready for an adventure. In the distance, they saw Jonny, Poppa, and Matt mending the chicken coop. Well, Jonny wasn't helping. He was too busy chasing after the turkeys. "Jonny, that's enough," his father called. "They're dumb," Jonny muttered, running after them. Ellie and Natalie shook their head. They knew he wasn't going to listen. "I don't know why he chases them," Ellie said. "They're almost as big as he is." The girls chuckled and headed off to explore the farm. "Hey, wait for me!" they heard Jonny called as he ran to catch up. "Where are you going?" "Well, we're going exploring, and if you want to come, you have to make sure you behave and listen or I won't show you the map tree," Ellie warned. Jonny looked around deep in thought, his eyes darting back and forth. "All right, I will listen to you." Jonny shrugged as he followed the girls. He really did want a piece of the paperback map. Later that afternoon after lunch, while the girls were on the porch drawing maps on their paperback, Jonny disappeared and was doing one of his new favorite things, chasing the turkeys. "Jonny?" Matt's voice called from the porch. "I have told you to stop chasing those birds. That is not kind and it's not okay for you to be scaring them." "But Dad, they're dumb," Jonny shouted back. "We need to be kind to living things, Jonny. They're God's creations." "But Dad," Jonny started to say. "We need to treat people and animals how we would like to be treated. Understand?" "Yes, Dad." For the rest of the day, Jonny was true to his word. He ignored the turkeys. Instead, he played ball, played with his toy trucks, and even played nicely with the girls. Soon he was getting bored. His eyes kept darting to the turkeys in the yard. But he didn't chase them, at least for one afternoon. The next day, however, Jonny was bored. What could he do? The girls had decided to play dress-up inside and then watch a movie. How boring. He wanted to play tag, but who could he play with? Then he had a brilliant idea. He would play chase with the turkeys. Boy, it was fun. Look at those silly birds run and flap their wings. The sun was bright and hot, burning his skin. Sweat ran down his brow and face and down his shirt. Jonny was on a mission. Chase and scare the silly birds. He was having so much fun. "Jonny, that's enough. Come here," Matt called sternly. "Oh, he's in trouble," Natalie whispered to Ellie as they peered out the porch window wearing Nana's hats and clothes. "Jonny," his dad hollered in his no-nonsense tone. "What?" Jonny moaned, walking towards his dad. "I wasn't doing anything," he mumbled, looking down at his dusty shoes. "Jonny, you disobeyed me," Dad said. "I told you not to chase those birds, but you decided to ignore me." Jonny hung his head. Dad continued talking. "This is your last warning, Jonny. If you chase them one more time, you will not be allowed outside the house for a whole day. Is that clear?" Jonny sniffled and wiped the dripping sweat off his face. "Yes," Jonny said, a little grumpy. Dad never let him have fun, and he never got the girls in trouble. Not fair. Jonny kicked a pebble on the ground and ran up the porch to get a drink in Nana's cool kitchen. The next morning, before Matt went to help Poppa do some chores, he reminded Jonny about not chasing the turkeys. Jonny nodded reluctantly and rolled his eyes. Boring, he thought. Just before lunch, he joined the girls at their tea party. It was boring, and it wasn't even real food, Boring, boring, boring. Feeling cranky, Jonny went to sit out on the porch and watch the turkey dig around the dirt, the grass and the rocky area. And that's when he thought of it. Rocks! Throwing rocks at them would be so much fun. He would practice his aim, plus that way he was listening to his dad and not chasing the turkeys. That was a good idea, he thought, and went to find some small rocks. Ellie and Natalie were just packing up when they heard a commotion outside. Uh-oh, the turkeys, the girls said as they ran outside. The turkeys didn't sound happy. What happened? Dad told you not to chase the turkeys, Natalie said, looking from him to the upset turkeys. Jonny only smiled and stared at them from the log he was standing on, away from the turkeys. I didn't chase them, Jonny replied, feeling very smart. Leave the turkeys alone, Ellie warned. Oh, I'll tell Uncle Matt and you'll stay inside all day tomorrow. You're not the boss of me and I didn't chase them, he shouted. Then he closed one eye, aimed and threw another rock. The turkeys scrambled around making noise while Jonny laughed. Stop bullying the animals, Natalie yelled. Dad told you last night that it's not okay to be mean to God's creatures. They're dumb, boring turkeys, Jonny said. And you don't have to be such a tattletales anyway. He poked out his tongue to the girls. Then he threw another rock at the turkeys. Well, I'm telling Dad, Natalie said, running off with Ellie close behind her. In the distance, Ellie and Natalie saw Matt and Poppa and another man with a big truck. It must be Mr. Pickering bringing the goats and calves. Forgetting all about Jonny, the girls ran towards Poppa and Matt. Good day, little ladies, the tall, stocky man greeted, pulling his hat down to say hello. The girls smiled and waved. Ah, girls, I'm glad you're here, Poppa said, gesturing for them to come closer. This is Mr. Pickering, and he's brought some new friends for our farm. That I have, little ladies. This here is Patrick, he said, pointing at a dark brown goat with huge horns. Ellie was a little afraid and took a step back. This girl here is Margaret. He pointed to a light brown and white patchy goat that was already eating the grass around her. And this little girl is Bianca. He pointed to a white goat who was watching them curiously. She must have liked them because she walked over and stood close to them. She likes you and you've now made a friend for life, Mr. Pickering laughed. Natalie and Ellie smiled shyly and carefully patted Bianca the goat. She was soft and friendly. All of a sudden, a loud, painful cry rent the air. Help! It was Jonny. Daddy! Daddy! Help! Matt sprinted into action, running as fast as he could to the back of the house where the screams and wailing were coming from. Ellie grabbed Natalie's arm and pulled her up the front porch to cut through the house and get there faster. Matt has just gotten to Jonny when the girls reached the back porch. There was Jonny being chased around the yard and pecked by all 5 huge turkeys. He was running wildly in circles as the animal chased and pecked him without mercy. The turkeys were furious. I'm coming, Jonny, Matt yelled. Help me, Jonny screeched. Matt ran in zigzag motion avoiding the turkeys. Then he scooped Jonny in his arms. Ellie and Natalie looked on, not knowing what to do. Clank, 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 they heard behind them as Nana came out banging 2 pots together to scare off the angry birds. Finally, the birds dispersed and went their own way. Jonny was shaking and crying in his dad's arms, and he was brought up to the porch. Jonny, are you okay? Matt asked as he checked his son's body for any blood, scratches or sores. Yes, Jonny managed to say. If those turkeys are going to be attacking children, I will tell your papa to give them away, Nana said firmly as she also looked for any signs of injury. But that's not fair. It's not their fault, Ellie said. What do you mean? Matt asked, looking at the girls. Natalie gave her little brother a nod. Tell him, Jonny. Jonny looked at Nana and his dad, then looked down. I was throwing rocks at the turkeys and then they started to chase me, Jonny whispered. I see, Matt said, picking up his son and walking inside. Let's go give you a shower first and then you and I will talk later tonight. All right, Jonny? Yes, Daddy, Jonny said, hugging his father, and was carried inside. Matt, Natalie and Jonny stayed for another week at the farm, although Jonny did spend one whole day inside the house helping Nana with all the chores and cleaning. Jonny also kept away from the turkeys and watched them from afar. Ellie was really sad to see them go, even Jonny, but she knew they would be back the next school holidays and she couldn't wait. I wonder if Jonny will learn another lesson next holiday, she said, laughing to herself as she remembered Jonny being chased round and round by all the turkeys. What would their next adventure be?
That was actually kind of funny, but also a bit mean for him throwing stones.
Yes, that's a bit mean. We cannot be mean to God's creatures.
I really do hope he learned his lesson. Bullying really isn't nice. Even if they're animals, we need to respect them too.
Respect all living things.
Yes, we have to be kind to them. Animals have feelings too.
Even the ants.
True. I hadn't thought about the ants.
They're so little.
I know. Well, boys and girls, I hope you've enjoyed the stories, and we want to remind you to be kind to all animals that God created. If you have a pet, make sure you look after it and love it.
Well, guys, that's all from us today. Till next time.
Bye.
I wonder if I could get a pet turkey.
And don't forget that you are GIGI kids, gorgeous in God's image.